Reading Rocket.
Disney Pixar Inside Out 2, The Junior Novelization. Chapter 4. Okay, Joy said to the emotions. Until we can figure this out, nobody touch the console unless you really need to. The others nodded uneasily. It was their job to be there for Riley when she needed them. But the system had clearly gone haywire. No one wanted another outburst like the one they'd witnessed earlier. Luckily at that moment, they had nothing to worry about. Riley was squished in the back seat of her parents' car with Bree and Grace on their way to hockey camp. With Riley's two best friends at her side, what could go wrong? You guys, I'm so psyched, Grace said as the car headed down the road. Me too, Bree added. I know. How great is next year gonna be? Coach Robert's team has been state champs like every year, Riley said. She pulled up a picture of the Firehawks varsity team on her phone, then zoomed in on a girl with wavy brown hair and a confident smile. And Val Ortiz is the captain now. Valentia Ortiz was Riley's latest obsession. She'd made the varsity hockey team when she was only a freshman. Riley wanted to be just like her. All we have to do is be super awesome at camp, Riley told her friends. Coach will put us on the team and we'll all be Firehawks. Bree and Grace exchanged a glance. Riley noticed. In headquarters, disgust froze. We gotta look. I don't like this. Disgust watched the screen through narrowed eyes. Back in the car, Grace looked uncomfortable. Coach Roberts isn't going to be our coach next year, she blurted. We got assigned to a different high school, explained Bree. Riley sat back, stunned. In headquarters, the emotions all began to talk over one another. How long have they known this? Disgust exclaimed.
We can't go to high school without Bree and Grace,
anger rallied. We won't know anybody, Sadness whimpered. We'll still get to hang out, Bree said. And we'll have this weekend, Grace added, which means we'll get one last time playing on the same team. Friends are forever, right? Bree said. She and Grace offered their hands for a fist bump. Riley forced herself to smile. Yeah, of course. She bumped their fists, then turned away to stare out the window. Oh, this is so sad. Sadness couldn't help herself. She lunged for the console. The other emotions held her back. Don't do it, they cried. Touchy console. Just hold on until they're out of the car, Disgust begged. It took every bit of strength they had to hold Sadness back. The car finally arrived at the cluster of buildings set among tall trees. A large sign at the entrance read, Welcome, Hockey Camp. Here we are. Wow, this is pretty cool, Dad said as they pulled into the drop-off area. Dozens of girls carrying hockey sticks and heavy gear bags were climbing out of their cars. Mom turned to smile at Riley and her friends over the back of the seat. Have fun! As Bree and Grace climbed out of the car and thanked Riley's parents, Riley hung back. Don't miss us too much, said Dad. Okay, love you guys, replied Riley. Don't forget your deodorant, Mom said. Riley rolled her eyes. She grabbed her bag and climbed out of the car. She watched as her parents drove away. On Joy's command, the emotions let go of Sadness. She lunged for the console. Riley burst into tears. It's okay. We need this, said Joy. Riley turned around mid-cry. That was when she realized that even though she felt entirely alone, she was, in fact, very much not alone. Sadness gasped, stepping away from the console. Riley wiped her eyes. She quickly pulled herself together. We can't cry in front of our peers, Disgust shouted. There's so many people to make a bad first impression on, added Fear. It's okay, said Joy as she stepped up to the console and took over driving. We just need to find Bree and Grace.
Wait, aren't we mad at them?
Asked Anger. Oh, of course not, said Joy. Outside, Riley scanned the crowd for Bree and Grace. When she spotted them, she took off in their direction. Slam! Riley had been so focused on getting to Bree and Grace She didn't see the girl in front of her until she crashed into her. Riley fell backward and hit the ground with a thud. The girl turned, startled. Whoa, hey, are you okay? Riley looked up. A girl with long, wavy brown hair reached down to help her up. But not just any girl. Everybody act regular, Joy exclaimed. It's Valentia Ortiz. Ah! Fear cried. We gotta say something, Disgust shouted. But Riley just stared, too overwhelmed to speak. Valentia pulled Riley to her feet. Hey, hi, I'm Val, she said. Finally, Riley's mouth started moving. I know, you're the varsity captain. You set the all-time goal record as a junior. Your favorite color is red, and your skate size is 9.5, just like me, she blathered. Her face fell as her words sank in. What are we saying? Disgust asked, horrified. We are so uncool, said Sadness. Why are we still holding her hand? Fear yelled. Riley let go of Valentia's hand. Oh, you're the one Coach told us about. Riley, from Michigan, right? Valentia asked.
It's Minnesota, sweetie,
Anger growled. No, Disgust said. We cannot correct Val Ortiz. Riley chuckled nervously. Yeah, that's me, she said. Riley, from good old Michigan. As she spoke, the console in headquarters suddenly lit up orange. Orange? Who made the console orange? Joy asked. Do I look orange? Anger replied. I didn't touch it, said Fear. Orange is not my color, added Disgust. Hello, everybody, said an unfamiliar voice. Ah! The emotions jumped and hid behind Joy. An emotion they'd never seen before had appeared by the console. She was small and skinny, with a spray of orange hair, a wide mouth, and large buggy eyes. Her arms were full of luggage, which she dropped when she saw Joy. Oh my gosh, I am just a huge fan of yours, and now here I am meeting you face to face, the orange emotion said with a squeal. How can I help? I can take notes, get coffee, multitask. She zipped to and fro, grabbing objects. Follow you around, carry your things, watch you sleep? Wow, you have a lot of energy. Maybe you could just stay where I can see you? Joy suggested. Anything, the emotion said, stopping beside her. Just call my name, and I am here for you. Okay, love that. What was your name again? Joy asked. Oh, I'm sorry. I can get ahead of myself, the orange one replied. I'm Anxiety. I'm one of Riley's new emotions. And we are just super jazzed to be here. What do you mean we? Disgust asked with a frown. A small hand appeared, reaching for the console. The emotions looked down. A tiny teal-colored emotion was standing there. She gazed up at them with huge eyes full of longing. Then she pulled herself up onto the console. I wish I was as tall as all of you, she said.
Who the heck are you? Anger
asked. I'm Envy, the newcomer replied. Then she saw Disgust. Oh, look at your hair, she gushed, reaching for it. Disgust held up her hand. Oh yeah, not happening. Envy's big eyes started to the console screen. Look at her hair. We need hair like that. Before the emotions could stop her, Envy pressed a button on the console. Oh my gosh, I love the red in your hair, Riley told Valentia. She reached out to touch it. What are you doing? Disgust screeched. She moved Tiny Envy away from the console, but not fast enough. Hey, maybe when I make the team, I can join Team Redhead too, Riley said, doing an awkward dance. As her words sank in, Riley's face turned pink. In headquarters, a third new emotion had stepped up to the console and pressed a button. This emotion was huge and pink. A bulbous nose with two tiny eyes peeked out from the hood of his lavender sweatshirt.
Okay, who's this guy?
Anger exclaimed. What's your name, big fella? Sadness asked the new emotion. That's embarrassment, Anxiety said. He's not big on eye contact or talking, but he's a really sweet guy. Well, welcome to headquarters, Embarrassment. Joy reached out to shake his hand as Embarrassment tried to fist bump. After a few more misses, they managed an awkward handshake. Oh, you got a real sweaty palm there, buddy, Joy said, grimacing. Hey, do you want to come with me, actually? Valentia asked Riley. You can meet some of the other Firehawks. In headquarters, everyone turned to the screen. Oh, that's exciting, Anxiety said. But we can't let her know we're excited. Yeah, that sounds good, Riley told Valentia with an indifferent shrug. In headquarters, the console had turned purple, but this time, no one was touching it.
What emotion was that?
Anger asked. That's ennui, Anxiety replied. On what? Asked Joy. Ennui, said a bored French accented voice. It's what you would call the boredom. The emotions turned. A long, droopy emotion was sprawled across the couch, looking at her phone. How are you driving? Fear asked curiously. Ennui showed them the screen of her phone. Console app, she explained.
Hey, stop that. That's enough.
Anger shouted with frustration. Now, if there's one thing I've learned, it's that all emotions deserve to be here, Joy said, putting her arms around Sadness a little too tightly. Even the ones you want to until they you know? But it's important to work together, to grow and change. Cool, lead the way, said Riley. She grabbed her things and started to follow Valentia. At that moment, though Riley saw Bree and Grace, she hesitated. Oh, but what about our friends? Sadness asked. Val is our future, Envy said. Yes, I agree completely, Anxiety said. We need new friends, or else we'll be totally alone in high school. Right, Joy? Well, Joy began. Great. Without hesitation, Anxiety went to the console and started to drive. Riley turned towards Valentia. Wait up! Thanks for showing me around, she called, hurrying after Val. Joy was aghast. This new emotion certainly was getting ahead of herself. Wait, why did you do that? She asked Anxiety. Anxiety looked confused. Sorry, what did I do? We just left our best friends behind, Joy pointed out. But what about the new ones that we're about to meet? Anxiety said. Envy, ennui, and embarrassment nodded in agreement. What? No, Joy exclaimed. What's wrong with these new emotions? These next 3 days need to be about Bree and Grace. Joy, Anxiety said with an exaggerated patience, the next 3 days could determine the next 4 years of our lives. Joy rolled her eyes. I think that's overstating things a bit. Oh la la, Joy's so old school, Ennui said. Look, we all have a job to do, Anxiety told Joy. You make Riley happy. Sadness makes her sad. Fear protects her from the scary stuff she can see. And my job is to protect her from the scary stuff she can't see. I plan for the future. Here, let me show you. She turned a knob on the console. A screen and keyboard rose and swiveled toward them. Anxiety began tapping on it. I was using that as a cup holder, admitted Joy. Okay, so my team has run all the data and we're looking at the following likely scenarios, Anxiety said. An image appeared. In it, Riley, Bree, and Grace were goofing around on the ice while Val watched them frowning. First, we don't take this camp seriously, and we goof off with Bree and Grace, Anxiety narrated. Riley looks really uncool in front of Val. The next image showed Coach Roberts kicking Riley out of camp. All the older girls were laughing. She fails to impress Coach, Anxiety went on, does not become a Firehawk, and finally arrives at high school. The next image showed Riley walking alone through a high school hallway with everyone staring at her. Anxiety tapped the keys again. In the final image, Riley sat alone at a cafeteria table, looking completely miserable. She has no one, Anxiety concluded. She eats alone and only the teachers know her name. Ew, said Disgust. Okay, you and I are going to be friends, Fear said with admiration. Oh, this is a sad story, Sadness added. It's a ridiculous story, Joy exclaimed. Look, again, love the energy, but you're being silly. None of this will actually happen. Anxiety opened her mouth as if to argue, but all she said was, Okay, yeah, you're right. Whatever you say, you're the boss. At that moment, an elderly, teary-eyed emotion with white hair entered headquarters. Oh, remember when we all finally came up to headquarters? She asked. That was like 30 seconds ago, Nostalgia, Ennui replied. Yeah, said Nostalgia with a sigh. Those were the days. Anxiety guided Nostalgia back to the door. Nostalgia, you aren't supposed to be here yet. You still have about 10 years, 2 graduations, and a best friend's wedding before you're invited. But I will keep you in the loop, I promise, she said as she slammed the door on Nostalgia. Envy pointed to the console screen. Val was talking. The emotions needed to pay attention. Riley and Val had arrived in the locker room. All right, you ready, Riley? Val asked, pushing the door open. Riley paused in the doorway, taking it in. This locker room was much bigger than the one in her old skating rink. Around the room, players were suiting up for the first practice. Several of the girls had red streaks in their hair, just like Val's. These girls are so cool, Envy gushed. And older, Disgust noted. Are we going to have to change in front of them? It's fine, Joy insisted. Locker rooms are places of mutual respect. Come on, Valentina said, calling Riley over. I want you to meet the other Firehawks. Riley walked over to Val, who was standing with a group of girls. They nodded at Riley. Hey, Riley said with a wave. Riley is from Michigan, Val explained. Oh, cool, said a tough-looking girl with short black hair. Where in Michigan are you from? In headquarters, the emotions froze. Oh no, what now? Fear asked. Okay, looks like we're committing to this, Joy said. Cities in Michigan? We need to make something up. Anxiety reached around Joy and pressed a button on the console. I'm from all over, Riley said. Nice, said the dark-haired girl. I got a cousin in Minneapolis. Danny, that's Minnesota, another girl said, rolling her eyes. 2 completely different states. Danny shrugged. My bad. Minnesota? That's where Riley was actually from. And they just missed a chance to connect over it. But Joy didn't have time to dwell on it. Valentia was talking again. You want to sit with us? She asked Riley. She wants to sit with us. Everything is beautiful, Anxiety cried. Joy shot her a disapproving look. There's not enough room for Bree and Grace. Oh, we should go sit over there, she said, indicating an open bench. Oh, sorry, Riley told Val. I was gonna go save seats for my friends. Oh, okay, it's cool, said Val. The Firehawks walked away. Joy turned to Anxiety. See, was that so hard? Anxiety's eye twitched. No, that was super great, she said through gritted teeth. Just then, Bree and Grace walked in. Bree and Grace, Riley called. There you are, Grace cried. They hurried over to her. Time to celebrate, Joy said. Riley pulled out her phone. Say awooga! Awooga! The 3 girls chorused. They did their goofy celebratory dance as Riley snapped selfies. Joy danced along with them. Outside the windows of headquarters, Goofball Island was going wild. Everything was perfect. Riley was having a blast with her 2 best friends, just like Joy wanted. As the girls posed for another selfie, Coach Roberts walked in. Okay, ladies, let's all settle in, she said. The room went quiet, but Joy was so busy dancing, she didn't notice, and neither did Riley. Riley snapped another photo with her friends. Joy, Anxiety said warningly. Suddenly, Coach Roberts loomed over them. She glared at the phone in Riley's hands. Ladies, settle in means settle down, the coach said. I need your focus, which means now I'm going to need your cell phones. She looked around the room. All of them. Cries of protest rose from the players. What? No phones? Thanks, new girl. Are you serious? You are here to work, not goof around, Coach Roberts told them. She looked right at Riley. Got that, Anderson? Yes, Coach, Riley said meekly. The coach held out a basket. Please put all your phones in the basket. You get them back at the end of camp, she said. One by one, the players tossed in their phones. Several of them shot death stares at Riley. In headquarters, Anxiety tapped Joy's shoulder. Joy, maybe I could help a little. Thank you, not now, Joy replied, her eyes glued to the screen. She hadn't seen that coming, but she could still save this. Camp was supposed to be fun, which meant keeping things lighthearted. She just had to get Riley back on track. At that moment, Grace leaned over to Riley. Wow, Coach is so serious, she whispered. Riley giggled. I know, right? She whispered back. Unfortunately, Coach Roberts heard them. Her head whipped around. Oh, you think this is funny? She snapped. Well, you know what else is funny? Skating lines. Now hit the ice, ladies. A collective groan rose. Skating lines was the worst drill. All the girls glared at Riley. Bravo, Joy. She's totally fitting in now. Ennui drawled from the couch. Joy kept her attention on the screen, but she could feel the new emotions casting doubtful looks in her direction. Joy tried to ignore them. She knew what was best for Riley. She always had. So maybe camp was off to a bumpy start. Joy wasn't about to let that get Riley down. Everything would be better once practice started. Riley loved skating. Some of her happiest memories had been made on the ice. Joy nodded to herself. Camp was about to get better. She was sure of it.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe for regular uploads. If you have a favorite book you'd like read, go ahead and leave it in the comments. Until next time, friends!